Today I'm identifying houses of worship, churches, synagogue, and mosques as essential places that provide essential services. I call upon governors to allow our churches and places of worship to open right now. If there's any question, they're going to have to call me, but they're not going to be successful in that call. Many millions of Americans embrace worship as an essential part of life. The governors need to do the right thing and allow these very important essential places of faith to open right now for this weekend. If they don't do it, I will override the governors.
Good morning. It's Sunday, May 24th. And so we're down to the last week of the month. We open up today with our president. First thing he did was the coronavirus responsibilities got too much for him. He dumped the responsibilities on the government. And now he comes out with a demand that they open the houses of worship. He says right now, Donald feels we need more prayer. I personally don't think he gives a fuck about prayer, except as a message to the evangelical members of his base. He claimed they were essential services. He claimed that people needed to get together and pray, and people needed a place of worship. Well, I can tell you, if you need to pray, you can pray any place. Because if you believe in God, then you believe he's listening no matter where you're praying from. So I don't think that churches and synagogues and mosques are necessarily essential. And yes, the pastors would take good care of their constituents, as would the rabbis and the imams. They would take good care of them. But churches are not essential. You can pray any place you want. So he wants them open. And I think he wants them open because he's getting scared. So you can look at me funny because you think I'm wrong about him getting scared. But he is in a tough re-election fight, and he's sinking in the polls against the Democratic nominee, Joe Biden, who's almost invisible at this time. So he's grasping at straws right now. And one of the big straws is opening the churches. And he threatened the governors. He said they would have to call him. And he claimed he would override them. So when he gave control of the coronavirus responsibilities to the states imposed the harsh restrictions on residents and businesses to try and slow the spread of the disease. The White House only released a couple of guidelines for states and regional leaders to follow as they combat the disease. So now all of a sudden he's taking charge. And he's taking charge because he's scared, because he's going down in the poll. And of course, the U.S. economy is straining. It's struggling under these social distancing rules. And Trump has called loudly for the country to begin the reopening process. And we are beginning to reopen, but we're probably not reopening fast enough for him. Because as I keep saying, he's scared. He's desperate. He's falling way behind in the polls, and he wants everything open, hoping to boost the economy and his chances for re-election. This is not about prayer. This is about the re-election. This is about having the economy flowing in the right direction so that he can claim that he did a wonderful job. But it's not happening that way. Right now, we have over 1.5 million cases. And over 97,000 people have died so far. So what's the rush to open up? We have to get this thing under control. It is not under control yet. It's not under control. And all he's worried about is opening up the churches. Why doesn't he worry about us having enough test kits? And why doesn't he use the churches to test people? We have only tested 14 million people out of a population of 330 million people. We are the wealthiest country in the world. We have the third largest population in the world. But we have the most cases and the most deaths by far. And that's a disgrace. And why isn't he worried about that instead of opening churches and synagogues and mosques? He should be worrying about why we did such a shitty job with this virus. It's ridiculous, the resources that we have available to us for us to be leading the world in deaths, in cases. It's a disgrace. And he's worried he's going to lose the election because of that. He's scared shitless right now. So I say we should ignore his plea for the opening of churches. We probably should ignore everything he says at this point. Thank you. I'm done for the day.